Saturday morning, late morning, Ash was still in bed, naked and feeling very relaxed. That synthetic masseuse had worked wonders, the kneaders pushing down into her back like a big cat's paws, ample pores of jasmine-scented gel rubbed with patient care into every inch of her long, slender body, while soothing music filled the air. But now Ash would have to get moving, allow the dreams to evaporate as she amped herself back up for work. Detectives were still very much cops, and the brass expected them to get their hands dirty while out in the streets. Because criminals didn't care what your rank was. They didn't even seem deterred by all the cameras and sensors that were everywhere. Not only was crime up, but Ash thought it was getting more brazen, as if in defiance of the new models of robot officers that had recently joined the force. Ashley Westgard wouldn't say that she resented or despised lawbreakers the same way some cops did. She felt she understood them. And besides, she was no angel herself. Although that didn't stop her from taking pleasure in grinding their faces into the dirt and calling them trash. Because there was just a certain line she wouldn't cross that the criminal element didn't respect. She had a working theory about what was going on, which she called the dilemma of the steam valve. On one hand, the world was being built up and maintained virtually on autopilot by an interconnected network of machines that could assemble and repair themselves. But people still had doubts and flaws and uncontrollable passions that needed some kind of release. That didn't always make for a rosy picture. Which is why Ash loved a good throwdown after words went too far, or working the hormones into a frenzy, then spiraling upward all night with someone new. And as was the case lately, plotting with cold calculation how to climb her way up the police ranks and enter into gilded society. What she couldn't forgive was the likes of that shoplifter from yesterday. People who tried to cut the line and then came up with excuses after they got caught. Ash pondered whether that attitude was also part of this symptom she was seeing on the streets. A desperate flaunting that seemed to be saying, "Look at me," more than "I want this thing." Some strange pressure was weighing people down, and Ash wondered if she was the only one who even noticed. While this keenness of mind had helped accelerate her promotion from beat cop to detective, she still was a flesh and blood animal, and often found herself unable to resist falling prey to her own worst vices. And if working in law enforcement kept you mostly above reproach, then being a female officer in 2045 meant you were untouchable. Ash's superiors didn't care what she or anyone else did in their off hours, as long as they kept clearing cases and the streets were safe. Still, Ash couldn't help but feel that she was starting to slip, because something was definitely changing inside her, as well as society at large. The steam valve wasn't enough to balance her out. Or maybe she was just pushing it to the point of breaking down. 5 drinks too many one day. Late-night calls to the street tough who sold her information and tasties. Churning and burning through women like she was shucking corn for a community potluck. And then there was her most shameful weakness, which had started to boil over from a rare guilty pleasure into something she craved and relied on. Those men. The hired guns with flexing buns. But even they were mostly ineffective now. Ashley Westgard was being hounded by some mysterious need. An itch she couldn't scratch. A blind spot that wouldn't come into focus. Just as society itself seemed sluggish within the fog of a new malaise. A pinched nerve that was driving people so crazy they were willing to commit foolish crimes in the picture-perfect world that was being built just for them.